Member of the Business Committee?
Minority.
A member of the Assembly Business Committee? Member from T20?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly. The Makueni County Climate Change Fund Quarterly Report and Financial Statement for the quarter ended 30th June 2024. That is the Makueni County Budget Implementation Report.
Honorable members of the Committee on Finance, the Climate Change Fund Quarterly Report, the Financial Statement, the quarter ended 30th of June 2024, Committee of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning to consider within 21 days. Leader of the majority, member of the Business Committee. Proceed. Member from Tito. You want to paper to lay on Assembly business. The Budget and Appropriation Committee to consider. Sorry, the Makueni County Budget Implementation Report. Look for it. Chairperson Committee on the Health Officers.
I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The half-yearly progress report of the Committee of Health Services, laid for the period January to June 2024. Ale.
Chairperson Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, Account Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Assembly. 1, the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, Count Administration and Special Programs for the period January to June 2024. 2, the report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, Count Administration and Special Programs on the implementation status of the Count Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly. I lay.
Chairperson of the Lands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly today. The half-yearly progress report on the Committee on Lands and Urban Planning Development for periods between January to June 2024.
Chairperson Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning, followed by Chairperson Committee on Environment and Climate Change, and the Chairperson Committee on Gender. Chairperson Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning for the period January to June 2024. I lay.
Chairperson Committee on Environment.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Assembly. The half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change for the period January to June 2024. I lay.
Chairperson Committee on Gender. Chairperson Committee on Gender. Person Gender.
Speaker, it seems the paper is not ready. Can you allow we do this tomorrow in the afternoon plenary?
The paper is in the order paper.
Yeah,
So we'll do that tomorrow?
yeah, please.
Please do.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Committee on Other Services.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. This Assembly adopt the half-yearly progress report for the Committee of Health Services for the period of January to June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6 August 2024.
Chairperson, Committee on Devolution, to lay 2 papers, to give a notice of motions of 2 papers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to give notice of the following motion. Give notice of the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration, and the special programs for the period January to June 2024. And I notice the report of the Committee on Devolution, Public Participation, County Administration, and the special programs and the implementation status of County Assembly resolution of the 3rd Assembly. Thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning, followed by Chairperson, Committee on Environment. Give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report, the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning for the period January to June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6th June 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change for the period January to June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6th August 2024.
Next order. Chairperson, Committee on Agenda. You give a notice of motion tomorrow. Next order. Honorable Mateso, Chairperson, Committee on Lands.
With the following motion, that this Assembly adopt the half-yearly progress report of the Committee on Lands and Urban Plan Development for a period between January to June 2024, laid on the table of the Assembly on 6 August 2024.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works and Housing, to respond to statement regarding establishment of an access road connecting Makueni, Kajiado, County through Kambu, as requested by member Fonzamani Vigoni. Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So, Speaker, there is a correspondence that the committee was waiting until yesterday, and it has not been delivered. So, Mr. Speaker, the committee has resolved to write back to the ECM for the final reminder so that we can get some information and some maps that we were requesting. So, we request that you give us 7 days. Thank you. Also, Mr. Speaker, I note that the requester of the statement is not in the House. Thank you.
7 days granted. Chairperson, Committee on All Services, to respond to statement regarding improvement of Kithulu Youth Center, Masongaleni Ward, as requested by member for Masongaleni Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby rise to give a response to a statement requested by Honorable Brian Zoka, member for Masongalen Ward, regarding the improvement of Kidilolo Health Center in Masongalen Ward. The statement was requested during the 57th sitting of the County Assembly held on Wednesday, 26 June 2024, pursuant to the provision of the Articles 185(3) of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 39(2) of the County Government Act 2012, Revised 2020, and Standing Order 50 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the financial year 2023-2024, 5 million shillings was allocated for the improvement of Kidilolo Health Center in Masongalen Ward. The improvement included construction of a staff quarter and rehabilitation of the maternity wing of the health center. Mr. Speaker, sir, the site handover to contractor was done on 11 January 2024, and the contract period was 3 months, ending on 11th April 2024. The contract was awarded to Zajit Enterprises. Mr. Speaker, sir, after the site handover, the contractor delayed by over a month to report to site. After reporting to the site, the contractor commenced work but later abandoned the work halfway. Mr. Speaker, sir, the staff house was constructed to the roofing level, windows and doors frames fixed, and works abandoned at that level. The supervising engineer has raised concerns over the quality of works undertaken so far in the construction of the staff house. Mr. Speaker, sir, the construction of the septic tank was stopped by the engineer due to the substandard works by the contractor, who was instructed to redo the construction of the septic tank. The works had stalled as well. Mr. Speaker, sir, the rehabilitation of the maternity wing of the health center was done partially and abandoned, forcing patients to use it in the incomplete status. Mr. Speaker, sir, the contractor requested for a part payment of 62% of the contract sum, translating to 2.9 million, to enable the commencement of works. This payment was made to the contractor on 24th April 2024. Ever since the money was paid, the contractor never reported back to site. Mr. Speaker, sir, effort by the project management committee and the supervising engineer to have the contractor report back to the site and finalize works were not successful. The honorable member, Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable member sought clarification of the following. A, provide a copy of bill of quantities and the work plan as signed by the contractor and the accounting officer during the signing of the contract, and detail all the activities which were to be undertaken in the time frame within which the activities were to be undertaken for the project. 2, B, whether the department is aware that the contractor has abandoned works at the health center and that the contract period has lapsed, yet the project has not been delivered. C, if yes, the action has the department taken to have the contractor report back to site and finalize the works. What action has the department taken on the contractor for failing to deliver the project within the contract period? D, give reasons for the delayed completion of works at the project and the plans the contractor and the department have in place to have the works completed. E, whether the department is aware that the quality of work so far done by the contractor is so poor to the extent that the supervising engineer has recommended redoing of those works, and that what action has the department taken to ensure the engineer's recommendations are implemented by the contractor? F, if the value of money already paid to the contractors, F, what is the value of money already paid to the contractor? And G, whether the project plan to be completed or commissioned. Mr. Speaker, sir, the statement was committed to the Committee of Health Services to consider and ensure response within 14 days. The Committee on Health Services sought for the response on the issues raised from the County Department of Health Services in writing via letter C-ACA/CH blah blah 2024-027 dated 26 June 2024, and further sought for additional response via letter reference CHS/2024/030, dated 22 July 2024. The Executive Committee member of the Health Services responded to a letter dated 3rd July 2024 and reference is shown, dated 29th July 2024 respectively. Annex 1 and 2. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee consulted the response and hereby responds as follows. Number 1, A, provide a copy of bill of quantities and the works plan is signed by the contractor and accounting officer during the signing of the contract and detailing all the activities which were to be undertaken and the time framework within which the activities were to be undertaken for the project. Response attached were the work plan and the bill of quantities as requested, that is attached to the Annex 3. B, whether the department was aware that the contractor had abandoned works at the health center and that the contract period had elapsed, yet the project had not been delivered. Response, the department was aware that the contractor had abandoned site after contract extension. C, if yes, what action has the department taken to have the contractor report back to site and finalize the works, and what action the department had taken for failing to deliver the project within the given period? The response was, the supervising department of public works made communication to the contractor to resume works within writing, through writing, attached the copy of the letter Annex 4. The department pursued the contractor to report back to site, but he did not. On 19th July 2024, the contractor requested for termination of the contract, citing changed prices in the market. On 22nd July 2024, the department terminated the contract. The contractor requested department termination letter attached Annex 5. D, give reasons for delayed completion of works at the project and the plans the contractor and the department have in place to have works completed. Response, the delays in completion works were from the side of the contractor, citing that there were challenges in facility accessibility due to transport issues and that the nature of repairs which were to be undertaken. The contractor was granted a contract extension with a revised work plan for 4 months on condition that the contractor shall complete the works by 30th August 2024. Attached, please find the contractor's request for extension, contract extension approval, and revised work plan, Annex 6. However, the contractor requested for termination of the contract as mentioned above. After the termination of the contract, a joint measurement of the works was done on 24th July 2024, and the final report of the works done to date and the scope of the remaining works was expected on or before 31st July 2024. C. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, I have additional information which shows the attachment further response showing dated that 30th. It shows a draft copy of bill of quantities as well as we await the final approval from the mother department, which I've attached here. Whether the department was aware of the quality of works. Mr. Speaker, the department was aware that the site instructions were given to the contractor for rectification of works at various items in the BQ. Nevertheless, all the proposed works as picked from the site visit 24th July 2020 this year will be captured in the awaited report on joint measurements. The department will then proceed to procure services for completion of the works to the standards as set out. F, was the value of money already paid to the contractor? Was there value of money already paid? Response, there was value for money since the contractor was paid based on evaluation of works done which were at 70% complete, attached Annex 7. The contract amount was quoted as 4.7 million, 4,709,069.72 cents. The amount paid in the first part payment certificate was 2.9,063,403.32 cents, leaving a balance of 1,775,606.40. G, when the project planned to be completed and commissioned, the response is, upon extension of the contract, the works were expected to be completed by 30th August 2024. However, following the termination of the contract, the amount of 1.7,075,636.40 should be reallocated in the upcoming supplementary budget for the department to procure the remaining works. The procurement shall take 6 weeks, while the implementation shall take 4 weeks to completion, and commissioning from time of budget reallocation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Masongaleni Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you I wish to thank the Chair, Committee on Health, for the response. However, Mr. Speaker, as I thank the Chair, I must say this. Mr. Speaker, as you are the head of oversight in the whole of Makueni County, it's worth noting that it's important for the executive arm of the government to conduct a thorough check on the capacity and the ability of the contractors who are given different contracts across the county, because I believe all contracts are given so that they may benefit the good citizens of Makueni. And on this particular contract, Mr. Speaker, of Kidiololo Health Center, this is an health center in Masongaleni Ward that we agreed as the people of Masongaleni Ward to be made the model health center. And in the financial year 2023-2024, we had allocated 5 million shillings that would go towards the improvement of the health facility, factoring the construction of a staff quarter to house the clinicians who attend to our people, and improving the maternity center, Mr. Speaker. Just like as is indicated in my request and in the response of the Committee on Health, this contract was awarded early this year in January, and it was supposed to run for 3 months. But the contractor who was awarded this contract, Mr. Speaker, it's very unfortunate and embarrassing to the Makueni people that a contractor can be given a contract of undertaking works which are essential in nature, and midway they decide to abandon works. And the contractor did not just decide to abandon works. This contractor had been paid a part payment of about over 60%. It's around close to 3 million, Mr. Speaker. And when this contractor was paid this amount of money to facilitate him so that he may complete the remaining works, it's also very embarrassing that he chose to run away with money meant for services of Makueni people, Mr. Speaker, because he didn't show up at the site. Even after requesting for part payment and being paid, he never showed up. And it is for this reason, Mr. Speaker, my good citizens of Masongaleni were very agitated. And then I requested for this statement, which also they felt that it was taking too long to be responded to. And they decided, because someone was quoted as saying, when they were defending the NADICO, there is a delegate who went to the bombers of Kenya when they were defending, when they were doing presentations for the NADICO report. And then that guy is nowadays very famous for the quote that supreme power is vested on the people, and may, meaning optional, and shall, meaning mandatory. So my people decided that they will exercise the supreme power. And they came all the way to the governor's office on the 17th of July this year, Mr. Speaker. And their particular concern was about the delay in works of this particular health center. And the agreement from that meeting was the contract be terminated and then another contractor be sourced. So as I thank this committee for this voluminous response, it is already overtaken by events because the contract has already been terminated and the department is in the process of procuring a new contractor to finish up what was left by the rogue contractor who decided to get a contract, not complete the works, get money, and run away with the public funds meant for the services of the people of Makueni. So I would wish, Mr. Speaker, as the person in charge of oversight, kindly guide on how the county goes ahead into procuring services so that we may not lose on what is supposed to be gotten by our people, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, member for Masongaleni, you've indicated that that this statement is overtaken, meaning that had you not requested for the statement, the contract would have been terminated, that the same action would have been taken by the department. Is that what you say?
I think, Mr. Speaker, by my request of this statement, it necessitated the action by the department to terminate the contract because it was in my request for the department to respond if there is value for money.
So is this procurement and 4 weeks to implement? That's a total of 10 weeks when the process begin. When will this process begin? After a reallocation in the upcoming supplementary. So the 6 weeks will start running when the next supplementary budget is allocated. Now, will 1.7 million be sufficient that time to conclude the remaining works? Discuss 10 marks. But that is not part of the statement. You will deal with it that time because you are okay that there is value for money for the 7%, but the value for shilling that time might have changed. So you'll find a way of reorganizing yourself to have a big queue of 1.775 supplement or less. But the response is well structured, simple, concise, and any ordinary citizen can read and understand. Member from Masongaleni, you follow up with the supplementary budget and implementation of this project, and I think that statement is rested. You have a question? Yes?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm well guided by what you've just said, but Honorable Speaker, I just said that as the head of this institution and as the head of oversight across Makueni County, Honorable Speaker, you've raised a very important issue on the balance of the project versus the works that are not complete of the project. And I think it would be very wise for you to compel the department, regardless of how much money is left, for them to complete the project seamlessly, because it is not within our fault. Either as the member of the County Assembly representing Masongaleni or as the residents of Masongaleni ward, it is the fault of the department in getting a contractor who would not deliver the project as required. So, as the person in charge, I am on your knees, Honorable Speaker, to compel the department to ensure that all work that was supposed to be done in the facility with the allocated amount of money is completed without further delay.
The executive committee member has indicated that through the chairperson that it will require 6 weeks to procure according to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, and the remaining works will require 4 weeks of implementation. And it is indicating that however, following the termination of the contract, the amount of 1.7 million should be reallocated the upcoming supplementary budget for the department to procure remaining works. Procurement shall take 6 weeks, while the implementation shall take 4 weeks completion, and the commissioning from the time the budget is reallocated. So there's a commitment that after supplementary budget, within 10 weeks, the project will be ready for commissioning. Now, if I were you, I will keep this document. And when we pass the supplementary budget, you count 10 weeks. And after 6th week, you just raise on a point of order and ask the chairperson to give his position as to whether we have a contract now that 6 weeks have expired and whether procurement has been done. That's point number 1. 2 is to ask the department, if the chair allows, that now that we are aware there's a balance of 1.77 million for certainty, so that we are aware that we ask the executive committee member to provide then the concept and the BQ evidence that there's a documentation in place awaiting procurement, so that then we know that whether that paper will be 1.7 million or will be more than that. The chairperson, you heard my point.
By there is joint assessment that will give us that report. In fact, with that report, we'll be able to answer that, and within this weekend, we should be able to have that.
The chair has listened to your plea on your knees, and through me, he has accepted to ask the executive committee member to give a work plan in terms of the BQ for the 1.7 to cover the remaining works. Now, with that BQ, you will follow up on the implementation after the supplementary budget. Is that fair? Yes, what is it?
As the government of the day, we are committed to give each and every member service. However, there's one thing I would like to urge the members, that the key absolute functions of the members is legislation, oversight, and representation. And when a project is taking place at our own areas of jurisdiction, it will be very prudent that we start with the contractors and work with them, so that at the point where the contractor has a disconnect, you are able to come in with the maximum force, that you may be able to challenge the contractor on grounds of oversight and on grounds of representation of the people. So that also, us as the government, our work becomes easier, because we would like a situation whereby the government is only blamed when the conclusion of the matter has come to the desk of ourselves. Yet along the journey, we were not in touch. So I would urge all members, let us be vigilant in terms of oversight, so that the government of the day may deliver to the people, with the people, for the people, by the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
While I am not contradicting my colleague, Honorable Bishop, I am just wondering why he's repeating what Honorable for Masongaleni has done. Because he has just done what he's saying we should be doing. And that's why there's a question in front of us. He was following this issue.
And there is no way he could have intervened before because the contractor had not quit and he was forced to commit himself. So the honorable member is on his game. What he's saying is just repeating what the honorable member, he should compliment him instead of telling him he should be doing something else.
Hold on. There's another member who is on point of information. I want to know whether both are geared towards him. Honorable Kalunda, your point of information is in relation to? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I don't understand because I understand he thinks he is in charge of a government.
Hold on, Honorable Kalunda. What is your point of order, member for Mulala Emali? What?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Kalunda wanted to inform Honorable Bishop Jonathan. And Honorable Jonathan went ahead and said, let him inform the government. Might the meaning of government has changed to Bishop Jonathan? Is he in order to refer to himself as the government? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Elima on that point of order.
Let me clarify. Mr. Speaker, the government of Makueni County is Wiper government. And the Wiper government, I am a member of Wiper government and in leadership of Wiper government. So in this context, it is not actually when I'm sitting here, I'm representing the government. And everybody is seeing what the government is being told. I am only I'm only actually a messenger of the government. So when he is informing the government, I'm carrying the message. And that message, I'll pass it over. And that's why I'm saying members should work with the project from the initiation to the end of the point. That way, we are together as government and as the members of the day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member from Mulala Emali, you answered?
No, not answered, Honorable Speaker. In fact, I'm misled further.
What is it?
Because Honorable Kalunda was direct. The information was towards Honorable Jonathan Muthoka. And Honorable Jonathan Muthoka said, yes, I, the government. That's where the confusion is coming in, Honorable Speaker.
Order. I think it's a question of semantic. Did you say we the government or you meant you the government?
We said we the government.
So.
When I'm standing here, Mr. Speaker.
No, fine. In the interest of time. Member from Mulala Emali. Even if he said I, he says that he says we and he means we. May we move? That's okay. And even if member for Elima refer to himself as the government by virtue of position as a deputy leader of the majority, then it's in order. I, the deputy leader of the majority, the government seated here, address me. You know, your things are easier because now you can raise point of orders directly. The government is seated here on a good and bad. Yes, it is no longer far. It is here. You address it. Any issue within statement, the government is here. Yes. Thank you. Honorable Jets, Leader of Minority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also followed. He must be very excited. Having been in the system, it's very nice. Now, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to also inform that the drafters of the Constitution were very vigilant. And they knew if they put a government which has been elected by people, then they don't have people to checkmate them. Honorable Speaker, it will be very difficult sometimes to implement. I'm saying that because the previous government, I was also the chairperson of the system. Sometimes you need people representatives to remind the government.
which has already been elected by people, Honorable Speaker, to be reminded of their roles, Honorable Speaker. And that's why we have an executive and a legislature, Honorable Speaker. Even in the advanced democracies, Honorable Speaker, where people representatives at certain jurisdictions will be in charge of matters to do with the people in that area, Honorable Speaker. So if, for example, you represent a ward like in Ilima, and an ECD center is being built at Ilima, you will find, chances are, you will find, without the input of the member of the county assembly from Ilima, Honorable Speaker, and his representatives, Honorable Speaker, it will be very difficult for the government to implement according to the standards, Honorable Speaker. And that is why I want to remind the Honorable Member for Ilima, you don't need to gang members not to ask questions, because the Constitution expects us to do just that, Honorable Speaker. And when it comes to asking how it should be done, Honorable Speaker, there is no limit to when the member can ask that question, Honorable Speaker. They can ask the question at inception, and you can as well ask the question at conclusion, Honorable Speaker.
Fair enough.
So, Honorable Member for Ilima should learn that the drafters of the Constitution looked at that, and they knew they must be checkmated by other people who are elected to do oversight, Honorable Speaker. So, and since I have seen, I can see a lot of arrogance in him. He is even standing without the Speaker having to give him the time to speak, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Ilima, you out of order. You cannot be on feet when another member is addressing. And the good practice is that government listens more. Proceed and conclude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, we learn every day.
That was not to say you talk more. Please conclude. You made your point.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So, I'm at ease, and it is good to also give everybody their chance. If it is a member of the assembly, we must ask those questions. And also the oversight committees, they are also expected to give the oversight committees are the links between the executive and the county assembly, because the minister will not come to respond directly here. In fact, what the oversight committees do, they only relay information the way it is. They don't even have a memory of what is happening.
You've made your point.
So thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I wish the Honorable Member for Ilima to calm down, to be humble enough, and be a good Kenyan. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mateso, you will.
I think, Mr. Speaker,
Hold on, Honorable Mateso. You know, when you took the position of government, Honorable Kalunda is raising to inform you. Honorable Mateso may speak on issue that you wish also to clarify. So you wait as much as possible. In fact, you take a pen and a paper. Yes. Honorable Felix.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that good advice to the deputy leader of government business. And they should be able to listen first to what people are saying, then respond later. I think that is very key. Honorable Speaker, I'm wondering, when there is a due process that is followed to award projects, Honorable Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it starts from somewhere. And Mr. Speaker, there are stanches where the assembly we are not involved, and this is where the problem is. When it comes to procurement, actually I've realized that the contractors that are getting these projects, some of them have no capacity. Like I remember I have a project that was awarded to a certain contractor, and he was just supplying some equipment, and which he failed to supply because of lack of capacity. Mr. Speaker, I don't know how we will oversight the procurement stage, because I think there is a big problem. Because even when you hear the project that was actually awarded to at Masongaleni, you realize that contractor did not have capacity. Up to now, I've also another project which was actually started on March, a road project, and yet it has not been completed. The contractor comes on site, requests for extension, and when you look at it, he's like he has no capacity to do that project. So I need some advice on how we can now actually oversight the procurement process so that we can get the best contractor with capacity who can do the works. Thank you. Answer me.
Member for Lima on the issues raised by Honorable Kalunda and by Honorable Mateso on how to measure capacity.
Mr. Speaker, let me put it very clear to the House. If you listen to me, could be Kalunda was busy on the phone, you don't understand even though he's not here. I just talked about the aspect of being vigilant on projects within our jurisdiction. Being vigilant means you are aware, you know the project is there, you know the progress, you have your teams, and that's why we have managers in our wards, so that everybody can be able to get information on day-to-day basis. You don't have to be there. So I did not gang members. I am only trying to tell them, or to advise members that let us be serious so that the government can be put on the watch on day-to-day basis. It becomes easier, Speaker, to stop a project before, let me finish up. Protect me, Mr. Speaker. It becomes easier for a member to stop a project halfway as opposed to stop a project when it is already completed. So what am I saying? If we walk the journey together and we have all the information, we have the powers on grounds of oversight to stop any project before the contractor reaches a point of running away or having even been paid to the tune of 80% payment. That's point number one. Point number two. The only thing is that we are acting out of suspicion that somebody might have been used the orthodox methods to get payment. But to me, I feel if we are fully involved, some of the solutions will be found before even we find a statement coming to this place. And also the committees will be able to reach there at the end of the day. On the issue of capacity, Mr. Speaker, I believe every member who is seated here, we are all crying for one thing. We would wish to have our members in this ward or in this count given work by the count. It's very difficult to measure the capacity of somebody or capability of somebody when they have applied for the contracts within the process of procurement. Why? If a company has been certified by the government of Kenya, it has shown other areas it has worked, you cannot be able to measure until you interact that particular company on day-to-day basis in terms of now execution. So what Mateso is raising is not here nor there. It's a question of we are trying to use our people on the ground, but unfortunately when we find somebody has no capacity, then you can raise the matter and the flag, and that can be addressed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable members, we may need to proceed. I find this statement very educative as well, because looks like this is what we are grappling with in each and every other project. Is that the mood? Honorable Elizabeth? Hold on, Honorable Elizabeth, you are a member of Committee on Health. You may be useful in responding. Or you wish to speak at this point? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to let the Deputy Leader of Majority know that if it was not by the fact that the member from Masongaleni was very active on this matter, it would not have found itself in this House, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, the member from Masongaleni assisted the committee very much. And that is why you hear the committee does not insist we need to visit, we need to go to the site, because the member from Masongaleni gave us the first-hand information on what was happening on this project. So, Honorable Speaker, I don't want leaders to insinuate that there are members who are not having information at hand on the projects going on the ground. The member for Masongaleni had the first-hand information on this project, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Member for Masongaleni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the Deputy Leader of Government Business in the House is completely out of order to insinuate that we are trying to stop projects when they are already complete. I think he doesn't have proper background information on this particular statement, Mr. Speaker, because my request for statement is based on a project that is not complete and based on information that I received from the ground of improper works and the payment that you allude was done up to 80%. Kindly, Honorable Speaker, protect me from the Deputy Leader of. He's trying to address me while he's supposed to address you, Honorable Speaker.
The problem is you. You should be addressing the Speaker, not the Deputy Leader of.
The point at which the Honorable Member is alluding that payment was done up to 80%, there's over 60% payment that was done to the contractor was based on as per work done by the contractor, Mr. Speaker. My concern was that this payment is primarily done to enable the contractor complete works if he has problems completing works because of insufficient funds. But unfortunately for this particular contractor, when he was facilitated with a part payment, he didn't turn up. And on capacity, the government is able to check or to evaluate the capacity of a particular contractor based on the profile of the contractor as submitted during procurement, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable members. No, wait. Honorable members, I've listened to you. That one, member for Ilima, you're indicating that members ought to be keen on primary oversight at the inception of the project, when the project is ongoing, at any given time. So in other words, this statement ought to have been raised earlier when this started going wrong. And that was a bone of contention on the statement, not when it stops. However, I presume the member participated in public participation in identification of the project, which is oversight. Now, it's very tricky. A member may wish to execute oversight when the project is completed before payment because there's no loss of money. However, a project can break down after it has been paid. So it is a very thin line as to when a member should. So one cannot measure that one is doing oversight properly by visiting all the projects every day, or that will amount to interference, whereas in another word, it will amount to a super oversight. So I think it's a question of how one uses to make that application, because maybe that formula may work in Ward A, may not work in Ward B. The only difference is that member from Masongaleni, for requesting for this statement at this point, your project is told until sometime in September, the earliest you get a contractor is October. There's a cost. Perhaps had you identified earlier, then this matter would have been resolved earlier. So the more a member takes, then there are higher chances of losing time, value for money, and something else. But I don't think there is a measure as to the frequency of the number of visits that one has to make. Again, it's presumed that the contractor was competent and there's a department, there are engineers who are supervising the works, and when the contractor deserted the site, then the department should have reported and taken action that time. In fact, there is a responsibility on the side of the department for not reporting and taking action when the contract stalled. So, honorable members, without digressing and losing the beauty of this statement, is properly responded to. Chairperson has offered to ensure that the requisite documents are in place in respect of the 1.7 in preparation for the 1.77 million after supplementary budget. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on the implementation status of the Counter Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I beg to move the following motion. That this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship on the implementation status of the Counter Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly, laid on the table of the Assembly on 3rd July 2024. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move to the executive summary. Mr. Speaker, sir, Standing Order 213 mandates the Committee on Implementation to examine whether or not resolutions of the Counter Assembly, including adopted committee reports, petitions, and the undertakings given by the County Executive Committee have been implemented, and were implemented, the extent to which they have been implemented, and whether such implementation has taken place within the minimum time necessary. Further, Standing Order 2204 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Order states that within 60 days of resolutions of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of the Select Committee, including petitions and the undertakings, the relevant County Executive Committee member under whose portfolio the implementation of the resolutions falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with the Section 39 of the County Government Act 2012. Mr. Speaker, sir, since the intercession of the Third Assembly in October 2022, various resolutions have been passed requiring the attention of the ECM for ICT, education, and internship. The committee wrote to the ECM on June 24, 2024, requesting an update of the implementation status of the resolutions under the department. A list of those resolutions was attached. The ECM, through a letter dated July 1st, 2024, referred reference number GMC DL 07-2024/146, responded to the committee, highlighting the actions taken or resolutions passed by the Assembly under her department. Further, the ECM provided a comprehensive response to the County Assembly resolutions regarding the oversight of the technical training institutes and the oversight of ECD centers. Committee findings. The committee made the following findings. A greater percentage of resolutions which do not require financial obligations have been implemented by the Department of ICT, Education and Internship on the period from October 2022 to date. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship has committed to submit the implementation status of 2 motions to the Assembly, which are due on July 5th, 2024. Number 3, both the Chief Officers of Education and Internships and the Chief Officers for ICT were gazetted on December 14th, 2022 and appointed on December 22nd, 2022. The Department of ICT, Education and Internship have reviewed the County Technical and Vocational Skills Training Act 2016, Makueni County bursary funds regulations 2018 to address the recommendations made by the Assembly. The regulations are being considered at the County Executive Committee level. The department will complete the... I'm sorry, number 5, Mr. Speaker. The department will complete the conversation of ECD teachers from contract employment to the permanent terms on July 8, 2024. A standard design of the ECD center, which includes a double classroom with an office and a store, a 3-door pit latrine, and all accessories has been submitted as requested hereon. A standard design for ECD center, which includes a double classroom with an office, a store, and all accessories has been submitted as requested. Another point is that a standard design for ECD center, which includes a single classroom with an office, has been submitted as requested. That is here attached. A standard design for 2-door toilet girls, a 1-door toilet, urinal for boys, and has been attached here. Number 4, committee recommendations. The committee therefore recommended that the Department of ICT, Education, and Internship should allocate funds for the County Assembly resolutions that have been implemented in the financial year 2024-2025, revised budget estimates, and in the financial year 2025-2026 budget to ensure all resolutions are implemented. Second, the County Assembly Committee implementations should follow up on all unimplemented resolutions and ensure that they are carried out. If not, the committee should recommend sanctions to the respective departments. Acknowledgement. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the committee, I wish to thank all the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk for the support offered to the committee. On behalf of the committee, I hereby present this report to the County Assembly for consideration and adoption. I now call upon Honorable Minority Leader Honorable Kalunda to second the motion.
Honorable members, I propose a question that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on ICT, Education and Internship, the implementation of the status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly, laid on table of the Assembly on 3rd of July, 2024. The floor is open. Member for Kalawa Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to acknowledge what the chair has read and also the report. I stand to support. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in that report, allow me to just make an input, which I think it is very important. Mr. Speaker, in the report, we have a recommendation in terms of ECD classes, whereby the structures that are being forwarded in terms of recommendations, they are very good. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, good that you also reflect in terms of CTTI, because we have classes in terms of workshops that are very important. And knowing the fact that, Mr. Speaker, that the CBC program that we are having next year, we are going to have a batch of grade 9 that is also graduating. And I do understand, Mr. Speaker, those learners from grade 9, we have some who will also join the CTTI. So as we think about expansions and also the designs of those classes or else the workshops to accommodate that, it is very important that the department can as well sit down and also have a thought on the CTTI, so that as we move forward, we are able to accommodate the learners who are going to graduate from grade 9, which I think it is very important. And remember, Mr. Speaker, at the level of department in terms of education, we are actually looking at the issues of CTTI and also the ECD. So we cannot put an effort on one side and leave less effort on the other side, of which I do understand the two must complement as part of the government work in the department. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this assembly of the report of the Committee on ICT Education and Internship on the implementation of the status of the County Assembly resolution for the third assembly laid on the table of the assembly on 3rd of July year 2024. Will as many as of the opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. The report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions.
Move the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the third Assembly laid on the table of the Assembly on 2nd July 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Makueni County Assembly Standing Order 204, within 60 days of a resolution of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant County Executive Committee member under whose portfolio the implementation of the resolution falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly. Within September 2022 to June 2024, the following reports were considered, adopted by the Assembly and forwarded to the relevant departments and entities of the County Executive for information and action. Mr. Speaker, we have a report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Public Works, Housing and Energy on consideration of the report of the task force on stored and pending projects in the county. So, Speaker, that report was passed on 29th November 2022, and its due date was 29th January 2023. The status is that it was fully implemented. Number 2, on motion, the committee's report on the road inventory and condition survey and oversight exercise that was conducted on Friday, 27th January 2023. The report was passed on 18th April 2023. Its due date was 18th June 2023. So, Speaker, the status is that no report on the implementation status of the resolutions that has been submitted. So, Speaker, there's a motion on the consideration of the technical audit report on the solar floodlights installed in markets within Wote municipality. The report was passed on 10th May 2023. Due date was 10th July 2023. And the status is that the implementation was complete. Motion on the implementation status of the legislations passed by the County Assembly, by the Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works and Energy Department, which was posted on 3rd October 2023. Its due date was 3rd December 2023. So, Speaker, the status is that it is partially implemented. Motion that was laid on the table of the Assembly on 5th March 2024 It was passed on October 2023. Due date was 31st December 2023. Mr. Speaker, no response was submitted to the committee by the ECM. That was on the oversight on roads in the county. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee made the following observations and finding. 1, assembly resolutions as stipulated 4 in the County Assembly Standing Order number 204, Part 1, which provides that within 60 days of the resolution of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant County Executive Committee member whose portfolio the implementation of the resolutions falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Section 39, Part 2 of the County Government Act 2012. 2, the following reports were fully implemented after committee's follow-up. A, report of the Committee on Infrastructure on the task force report on stored and pending projects in the county. B, the report on the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on consideration of the technical audit report on solar floodlights installed in markets within Water Municipality. And 3, the following reports have not been implemented as there has been no report submitted by the ECM Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy, even after the committee follow-up. A, the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, and Housing and Energy on implementation status of legislations passed by the County Assembly by the Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, and Energy. B, that the implementation committee may propose to the County Assembly sanctions against the ECM Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing, and Energy for failing to report to the committee without any justifiable reasons in accordance to Standing Order 213, Part 3. Acknowledgement. I take this opportunity to thank the committee members for their input and valuable contributions during the deliberations of this report. The committee also takes this opportunity to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk for their support accorded during the consideration of this report. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the committee, I hereby present the committee's report to the County Assembly for consideration and adoption. Mr. Speaker, allow me to call upon Honorable Ndolo Kimunyi to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the Assembly of the report of Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolution, the third Assembly laid on the table of the Assembly on the 2nd of July, year 2024. The floor is open. Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request this Honorable House to pass the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions, the third Assembly laid on the table of Assembly on the 2nd of July, year 2024. Will as many as of the opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Honorable members, the report of the committee as approved by the House reads as follows. The Committee on Implementation shares the recommendations. Committee on Implementation. We have the chairperson, vice chair, member of that committee. You're a member. I just want to know. Yes, if you're a member, you are as active as such. No, only one member. Is there another? Only member Fungu. Now, the Committee on Implementation, to ensure recommendations in the following resolutions are implemented, and where to that extent. Now, 1, the Implementation Committee may propose to the County Assembly sanctions against the Executive Committee member, the Transport and Public Works, Energy, for failing to report to the committee without any justifiable reason in accordance with Standing Order number 213. Now, this matter is referred to you, and you have how many days to report? Implementation has how many days? 6 to 30. 64 implementation. Former chair, the ever active chair, Honorable Kalunda. After resolutions. For the sectoral is 60 days. And the other one is 60 days. Yes. So, Chairperson Committee on Implementation will be expecting, in compliance with Standing Order number 213, you present to this House not just a report. The Implementation Committee to propose to the County Assembly sanctions against the Executive Committee member for Infrastructure. Please don't give us a story. You will bring a motion for a minister to be impeached or to give an explanation as why she can't be declared incompetent. Please listen, Mr. Chairman. Things have changed. So don't bring this big book. This is not a library. We want sanctions. And what are the sanctions? It's the removal or any other form of punishment. And take note of that. We have started counting beginning from today, 6th of July. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. The report of the Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Chairperson. Chairperson of the agenda. This report is not signed by the chair, unfortunately. This report is not signed by chair. Nevertheless, it was forwarded by Director L&P. It was forwarded by Assistant Director, Committee Services, to Director L&P for tabling, and it was approved by the Deputy Clerk L&P, the Acting Clerk, for tabling, and the paper was laid to 3rd of July at 2:30 by Honorable Eric Atumo. Table clerk was PMM, and the document is not signed. That explains that we are here for rituals. He has to come at 2:30, bring papers here, we just process them, we don't read. Yesterday, I indicated that someone will sign these documents to dissolve the assembly. Approve a motion, the motion is to say the assembly dissolves itself. Or that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to take note that the committee clerk has been very arrogant and should be dismissed forthwith. And the same committee clerk says, I have read, approve. This matter is deferred because it's embarrassing. Next order. Those in line with that approval, please have no words. Proceed. Next order.
Order number 11, motion. The report of the Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Chairperson. Chairperson of Committee on Agriculture. Vice Chair. Honorable Leader of the Majority, this is the second occasion. Leader of the Majority. This is the second occasion. Papers are laid by members of the Committee on Agriculture, and as we get to the motion, the Chair and the Vice Chair is absent. Take note of that. You wish to speak on the same?
I received a message from the chair that is feeling unwell, and the vice chair was around, and we have several members in the house. So, Honorable Speaker, probably if you allow, one of the members from the committee can take up the motion, because it's already in the house.
Fair enough.
It has been shared with by the chair of liaison. So I think a member can take up the matter.
Yes, I have said this is the second occasion that in the absence of the chair is the vice chair, and if the vice chair is absent, plan should have been put in place so that another member takes up. Now, what I'm reporting to you is that the chair is absent with apology. The vice chair was in. They are members of the Committee on Agriculture and they are not raising, meaning that that organization and planning has not been done. And it's happening. So there is a problem. And I'm saying this is a second occasion.
Yes, it's true.
Now, we will have to ask a member and we discuss this matter. Is there a member in the Committee on Agriculture who has been delegated to take up this motion? Now, that's the problem. That a chair, a vice chair, and that they don't delegate.
Yes, we agreed yesterday.
And that's a matter that was discussed yesterday at last.
So, Honorable Speaker,
In fact,
because
it is the chairperson. In fact, the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture was a mover of that motion.
Yes.
In last,
Yes.
where I attended.
Yes.
So whether he's present or absent, he should have implemented that now that he was absent.
So, Chair,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I would request that we, because I believe we are able to get back to the chair and the vice chair, we can probably try to inform them to be here in the house tomorrow so that they can deal with the matter. And Honorable Speaker, just speaking for almost all the chairs, I think some of these resolutions were made by the liaison yesterday, and people are just catching up. So it might probably take 1 or 2 days for people to understand that they must delegate, and because we are still in that process, Honorable Speaker, I would wish probably we will make some good communication to the chairs who were absent yesterday so that they may know the resolutions of the liaison committee. Thank you.
Is that where a chair is absent, the vice chair is present, and for whatever reason, and a good reason, the vice chair has a commitment and has to leave the chamber. It doesn't matter whether the Agricultural Committee and the order paper has been circulated. You know, courtesy and responsibility demands that when I called upon, another member from Committee on Agriculture should have shot and executed the business. And then, not that we are lynching the Agriculture Committee. This is what is happening. That you are chair, you are attracting responsibility allowance. You are vice chair, you are attracting responsibility allowance in that committee. But then you can't make an effort to persuade a member of a committee to take up your business. Those are things that we need to deal with so that, again, we don't have business postponed. What is it, member for Honorable Elizabeth Muthiki?
Honorable Speaker, I am a member of the liaison committee, and I am equally embarrassed that we all agreed as chairpersons that we must take responsibility and take responsibility fully. That there was need for all of us to, whenever we are absent, to delegate to the vice chairs, and whenever the vice chairs are also absent, we delegate to members. Honorable Speaker, I know the majority leader is passionate to talk on behalf of all of us, but he will not be passionate to look for us when we do not delegate. I will just plead with him not to take a responsibility that he will not be able to achieve, because the chairpersons know what they are supposed to be doing in this county assembly. We only need to be serious. And Honorable Speaker, you cannot lead a team when you are not serious yourself. And I will quote the campus saying, "Kabuti ke kumba tamwene." Definitely a committee will just look like its owner. If the owner does not delegate, no other member will be willing to take up the matter. So, Honorable Speaker, I think the chairpersons need to be serious, and I'm one of them. If I am not able to come to this house, I should be able to find from members from my committee to make sure they execute the business of a county assembly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Muto. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to echo what my friend, Honorable Mudhika, has just said. Yesterday at Liaison, the agriculture chair, had a brilliant idea. He was discussing how we could label the seats for chairs, so that when you are absent, we can stick a sticker note labeling you absent. But today we are discussing the same chair who did not delegate. Mr. Speaker, we need to take responsibility. What we discussed, we counted, we are around 20 chairpersons and around 20 vice chairpersons. That is almost more than 3/3 of this house. If the chairperson is absent, the vice chairperson is absent, we will not maintain quorum of this house, Mr. Speaker. So we need to take responsibility. We need to implement what we discuss and lead by examples, not by just shouting liaison, and we are not implementing. So, Mr. Speaker, I think you can direct that the chairs be labeled, and we have a very nice stickers we will be sticking to when such incidents occur in this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, if what Honorable Tivu is saying is to go by is that if you have 20 chairpersons seated and you have vice chairperson seated, those are 40 members and above. So therefore, between the chair and the vice chair, one of you must be in. That means every committee is represented, and you'll have a minimum of 24. So that then if member Fungu, you are a member of committee on implementation, and you are the vice chair for finance, today you are not here to take up responsibility on implementation. You are here to sit in for your chair for finance. That's why you are responsible. So that then chairs do not throw the responsibility to other members when those other members are vice chairs of other responsibility. In this order paper, we do not have report for committee on implementation, but there was a business for implementation. Directions have been given. The chair and the vice are absent. Either one of them should have been present, so that then they can know what implementation to take up, so that member Fungu will be so keen that his chair, Maneno, is in or is out, take up any business on finance. It's so simple. And therefore, that delegation is to the extent of the chair and the vice chair. And don't belabor other members to take over your responsibility. And there's no way the two of you, will be absent. The same way the leader of the majority and the deputy, somehow they will find a way of organizing the program, and one of them will be. You may have mistakes where the deputy leader of minority and the deputy may be absent, but on the majority, there are no mistakes. You know, I've also noted that the Chapcha party many times is present because he doubles everything. He's the whip, he's everything. So, honorable members, with a lot of respect, please respect that responsibility or delegate it. Or delegate it. So, yes.
Honorable Speaker, we might blame the chairs or the vice chairs or whoever, but the problem is not them. The problem might be